Hi, everybody. Welcome back to HTEC Days 2023. Welcome to our 10th and last session of the day, where we will hear from Peter McNulty, who's joining us from our Momentum Design Lab team, and I believe the forests of California, if I...
Yeah, it's a redwoods hike, so yes.
Okay. Joining us directly from the Redwoods to share with us a little bit on who is Momentum Design Lab, what does Momentum do, and how you use a design-led approach to product development. So thanks to everybody who has been with us throughout the day, and let's hear from Peter just on a logistics side. Feel free to type your questions in the Q&A. And when Peter is done with the presentation, we will be addressing all your questions. So Peter, please feel free to share your screen and kick it off.
No, sure. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So thank you for the introduction. Happy HTEC Days. So the conversation today, the Momentum Way. The purpose of the talk today is to provide a view into momentum that you might not have seen or heard. We tend to focus our story on within our sales conversations, really around our work. But today I would like to share how we get there. So, yes, I will be sharing some work in a little bit within this document, within this presentation. But why don't we begin? So the question is, what is the Momentum Way? So it starts with the user. We are a design-led organization. We combine human empathy as well as intelligent data to make the right decisions to create better experiences. Let me show you how we get there. So folks, I don't recall, I might have missed the sound. Were you able to hear that? We had a soundtrack on that.
No, unfortunately not, but you can keep going and maybe we can send a link. I'm sure this is available.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. All right, so why don't we talk about a little backstory about Momentum? So our history, we've been around for 20 years and plus. We've delivered, quite a few projects, 750 plus. We've been very successful leading startups to acquisition. We have a good track record there. We've created 48 billion plus. This number does not include the Facebook back in the day, so it could even be in the trillions. We work with the top 100, top Fortune 500 clients, and they range from, as I mentioned, startups to enterprise. Awards. Clutch is one of our main claims to fame. We've been rated for the last 7 years as #1 global UX agency. For people that are not familiar with Clutch, it is kind of like the Forrester of agencies. So we have many reviews, and so we have a high rating there. Basically, this is a main input for our workflow. So a lot of our customers find us through this service. A sample of clients that we worked with the last 2 years. So, again, they range from early startups to Fortune 100 or enterprise clients. So if you were looking at the logo wall on the right-hand side, our enterprise, and then On the left-hand side, there is the startups and everything in between. The question is who we are. So we are a group of strategic thinkers, designers, problem solvers, and innovators. We love to take on challenges. And we love to push the envelope, evolve everything, not just do the status quo. We are international. We have a couple of international global locations. Our people are all over the world. How we assign projects here at Momentum is by time zone. So everything is by time zone. So it's how we break up and do the right work for our clients. Just a little personality. So this gives you some faces behind the name of Momentum Design Lab. We like to have fun here at Momentum. So the momentum profile. We're all the designers are unicorns. We use that term to describe a full stack product designer. So we expect all of our designers to do their own research all the way through guiding the implementation. Delivered leads is another role here at Momentum, and they are hybrids. So project management, account management, plus at the individual, they have wild card skills. So a typical team here at Momentum consists of 2 designers and a DL, or a delivery lead. That is a designer pod or a project pod. And the delivery lead kind of fills in the gaps. So they have, some are BA skills, some have experience strategy skills, some are really, really true, account managers. We all believe design is who you design for and who you design with. This is very important here at Momentum. Our mantra is be real, be human, be scrappy, be bold. Is what we believe in here at Momentum. We have about 40 plus people here at Momentum currently. The design organization is the largest. We have a little bit over, I believe, 20, and then 20, 25 is the range. So, and as I saw on the map previously, we're all over the world. Our values, we live up to these things. These are what we truly believe. So everyone here at Momentum, on a daily basis, we always go back to this, or we leverage these skills. So craftsmanship, it's all about the craft. So we are product designers. So we think, we think about the details. We dive into the problems at hand. Really, really focus on the mastery of our craft. Empathy, that is who it goes back to the statement before. I talked about design is who you design for and who you design with. So it's multidimensional. So it's all about really understanding of the need of the problem at hand, and designing the right solutions to satisfy or find a solution for that need. Collaboration. We co-create internally as well as externally with our clients. I'll get into this a little bit more, but it's very, very critical how we work here at Momentum. Curiosity. This is inquisitive. We want our people to really, really focus on the channels. We ask a lot of them, and they definitely need to have the curiosity to really solution and think through the problems at hand. How we work. So our approach is not one size fits all. We never know what's going to come in the door. We're in all industries. We can adapt to whatever each customer needs. We're flexible in that regard. And we work in greenfield as well as brownfield. I mentioned the spectrum of different stages of our customers from startups to enterprise, and we adapt. Our building blocks. So we've been successful, but these are like the critical 4 things that we apply to all of our solutioning, no matter what type of project. So human relationships or partnerships, it's really it's really about the connection at the human level to really think through and work as a team. Fluid frameworks. Obviously, design is always changing. The thinking evolves, and we have frameworks that we use that are flexible. Open communication. As I mentioned, we co-create with our customers, and we have many different ways for them to provide feedback and communicate multiple touch points during our process. We think of it as we bring our customers along on the design journey. Focus teams. All of our teams are focused, dedicated for the full life cycle of that engagement. We do that for a couple different reasons, but the primary is that the quality work always goes up, as well as the speed of solutioning is critical. The core services that we offer here at Momentum, research, strategy, design, and development. As I mentioned, we never know what's going to come in the door. So the items below are different activities that we could select depending on the problem at hand. We use a tool in our sales cycle to really understand the problem. We don't get like a creative brief or a requirements doc typically. If it is, it's at very, very high level. So we go through conversations during our sales channel to actually really understand where the customer is and what they need. So we have this level, this spectrum of 6 different levels. What is identified as we operate in level 5 and through level 2. So product-led growth, or CX, is really taking strategy, understanding what the product needs to do, who is it for, and taking it through the process from that entrance point. And that's mostly greenfield, or it could be a brownfield initiative of rethink, all the way down to level 2, where we're asked to really evolve some thinking, actually do the craft, and really, notch it up of whatever the solution or application that we have to think through. The engagement types. So once we understand kind of what the readiness level is, we go through a process and define a couple different playbooks or engagement types. We have an evidence-based approach, which I feel I always call it we're doing the right work. Really diving into the user needs, starting with research and understanding, from their point of view, as well as doing a deep dive into the product. If there is a product, we do the current state assessment, understanding where it needs to go. And then we go into the workshopping, and I'll go into the process in a bit. Expert-based is really rapid. This is really diving in, understanding the problem at hand and, solutioning. It's typically targeted for a certain area of an experience or an extension. And we do the expert-based playbook. Innovation labs, that's another type of project or program that we do here at Momentum. They're open-ended. So I'll show you a couple of examples of customers that we are doing an innovation lab approach. It could be blue sky or green field. It could be multiple projects. Our design process. So I mentioned we start with research, predominantly across all the different engagement types we do in some level. We go through the discover, gaining the insights through the research activities, and then we bring all those key insights to a series of co-creation workshops. So this is a key element here at Momentum. We do very extensive workshopping with our clients to really set the stage and define the direction or strategy going into the design phase. So then through the design phase, this is really where the craft really happens. So interaction design, UI design, going through the process to really find the right solution, prototyping along the way. And at the end, we do a lot of testing and validation steps in our process. And then we go to realize. We do have engagements that we do development. So obviously working with the great teams at HTEC, we have a lot of projects that are in that type of collaboration, and that are the design process. Co-creation workshops. So we have a couple different frameworks, but this is an example of a 2-day. They could range between a kick shop on the expert base, a 1-day rapid workshop, to a 4-day. Really depends on how large the initiative is. But all of the preparation steps are the same. So I mentioned what we do in discovery. We really figure out the problem. We do the customer research. We do interviews, the current state assessment if they have a product or an experience that we need to review. And we take all of those key learnings into day 1, and then we talk about alignment. So we understand the vision from the client, and go through the research insights and really map out the current journey of the experience. We use a couple different frameworks depending on the project, but we do persona based as well as jobs you've done, and empathy mapping, etc. That's all about understanding. Then the second day is all about doing. It's really where we want to go. So this is really activity based. We use design thinking exercises to facilitate these workshops, and they're collaborative. So participation from the client side is required. We use tools like Miro, FigJam, and have them actually create with us. At the end, we summarize. So through the stages from discovery through the end of workshops, we encapsulate it into a strategy document. We call it an experience brief. And that gives the documentations of everything that we talked about up to that point, all the learnings, and we develop a roadmap, a sprint plan. It really depends on the engagement. And then we move into design. So I showed you the product design process. So there's multiple touch points that we collaborate in our process. So through discovery, we meet with our clients through once a week, most likely, to really give highlights of the key learnings of the different activities that are going along. We like to deliver early and often at Momentum. Keep the conversation, keep the thinking going. Once we go into the workshops, that's where we really meet and really make the relationships with the customers, really understand what the needs of what we need to create. And then we go into design sprints. We work fast here at Momentum. We do week sprints. We start with UX or wires, do heavy interaction design at the beginning. Majority of our design is in wires. So prototyping and micro interactions, all of these elements sit in that phase. We meet with our clients every other day. So a typical day in the life of a designer is that we might break up from the workshop. We might break the work into epic stories. An example of an epic story could be we need to create an onboarding experience. The 2 designers of the project team pod that I described would pick up that story, and we would have a kickoff for the beginning of the week. And then the designers would start playing the stories underneath that epic. And then on a Wednesday, say we start Monday, Wednesday, we would have another hour session with the client, and we would review progress, show thinking, get more feedback. And then the rest of the week, we would go ahead and continue playing that story and then deliver on Friday. And then the next week, we would pick up another epic. So it's very, very quick, rapid pace. And all of our show and tells or our collaboration sessions could be, it could be wires, it could be prototypes, it could be high-end design, which is the next stage. So then once we do that, we do a formal kind of review at the end. A typical deliverable is a prototype. So really, we really guide the customers through the experience in that manner. And then we hand off the required elements to the client. So our deliverables are a mixed bag. As I mentioned, we never know what type of opportunity that is coming in the door. So they range. We do research initiatives. We do just prototypes, just strategy. And then we also do code. So it ranges. We're very flexible on how we work with our customers. Okay, I promised work. So here's some samples. So I'm going to share today all of the examples that you see here were done last year. So they skew to every industry. We have aerospace, we have robotics, we have fintech, and we have transportation. There's a couple of examples I see up on the board right now. But we created a really, really cool application for right sizing eyeglasses for a group called Vero. We did some branding work to really get, they are a startup. So we did a brand identity initiative, and then we did application development. So you can see kind of, it's really interesting application to using VR to scan the individual's face to measure for your eyeglasses. The application it could be a in-home use for if you want to download the app and do it yourself, or they are also partnering with stores that sell doctors, optometrists, really to be a tool inside the office when you go get your eyeglasses sized. It's really rudimentary today. You might have noticed when they put your glasses on, they might do a dot in the middle of the glasses to really check your dimensions. But this tool is within an app. They can go ahead and the person can scan your face and they get the right information without, right there and then. We do some work with a group called ABM. We created a team member app. This is a SaaS experience. We have a platform that manages tasks for the different frontline workers of that organization. For people that might not be familiar with ABM, ABM is a very large service organization. So they manage in the States. They do cleaners. They do bus drivers. Airports is a big business for them, for all the people that work at the airports, from ticket counters to baggage handlers. And they have many other different roles within the ABM family, but we created an app for them to track their tasks, as well as giving them other information to support their daily lives or their time on the job. Then we did a platform for managing all of those activities. We introduced a new airline. It's not every day that you can have a hand at helping a new airline come to market. There is a new airline called Northern Pacific Airways. They are going to provide service out of Alaska. So very similar to Icelandic Air, if you've ever flown them. They do a pit stop to cut costs for this target audience for Asia customers and US customers going back and forth between Asia and the United States. They have a hub in Alaska where they obviously transfer planes, but they also provide additional services that you can take a little stopover in Alaska to enjoy the adventures of that great state. So that was exciting. We did a mobile experience as well as and a desktop experience, really to push the envelope of how one books travel. So booking the flight itself, as well as the adventures at the destinations that the customers choose. Another aerospace is the example down below. We created an application for pre-flight experiences for pilots, and plus a couple other tools. It was for an organization called Collins. And this is a flight checklist, checking weather patterns, routes, and we created an experience for them to do that before they, on the go. So it was a mobile application for them to get that information, so they're ready to start their day and actually fly. We did some exploration work and strategy work around smart glasses. We did World Health Organization, getting the right information out around all of the great information that the World Health Organization or the WHO network provides. We did robotics. We did vertical farming. So we had a client come to us and they really wanted to have a monitoring application for their in-house or indoor farms. So we created an app for monitoring all of the different rooms that are involved for growing indoors. Transportation, and then we did a lot of VR work, and I'll show you a couple examples of, for an auto industry, really thinking through kind of what is on the HUD. And this thinking is 2030, 2050 is where that it states in the critical thinking. So you might have, just an observation, you might not see, you probably think of us as websites. We didn't do very many websites last year. So the teams have been really focusing on application is our core, is software experiences. I'm going to show you a video of the next example. So please, I hope it works. There's not going to be sound associated to it. So this is a shopping companion. So I'm bummed the sound doesn't work. So the team created these 3D environments. So the designers here at Momentum did everything that you see from scratch. So the initiative was to create this personal companion or this robot that helps mobility. So we worked through many different, the strategy associated to it, and it's going to be right now it's in a 3D model state right now. So we got this week, we actually got pictures of the 3D printing a physical size of the actual companion. Okay, so just kind of give a recap. So the team went through the exercise, really defining and working with the customer to define the right use cases to illustrate. And then so we basically did the initial discovery of what the opportunities of this robot should do. Maybe I should start with how this project came about. It was one of those very abstract requests that we got in the door. It was a one-liner. The customer wrote down in one sentence that what we want you to take on is a cross between a shopping cart and R2D2, period. And that's all we had. That's all the team had to go on to start the process. So it was very working with the customer really to define kind of what this new robot needed to do. Did the strategy piece. We did a lot of storyboarding, and what you just saw is the high-end 3D environment that we designed and built, and we animated and did the video production around this level of storytelling. The next example is the same customer, but it's for within your car. It's called an AR HUD project, and this is some of the footage that we were asked to drive around the streets of San Francisco, and then the team layered in all of these use cases of different indicators that show up on your windshield. So if you're not familiar with the term HUD, that is, having the AR objects on your windshield right in front of the driver to give you indications. This particular snippet or this video, we were looking at, testing using this video sequence that you're going to be seeing, and seeing and putting it through the paces of all the different indications that were specified to be shown on the HUD in sequence with navigation. So the interplay between the two was what we were working out. Yeah, and again, I apologize for no audio, but there's the voice command in addition to the actual elements on the windshield. So those are two samples of the innovation lab. I mentioned that engagement type earlier in this presentation. So this is an ongoing relationship with this particular customer, and we're asked to do many different types of streams of work, from research to delivery of, across the spectrum. It's been a very good relationship up to this point. And then I just time check. I can go into more case studies, or we can do questions. It's what do we think?
Thank you, Peter. Let's try to get through the questions that we have right now, and if we have any time left, to try to look at a few more of the amazing examples that you showcased. And I first of all want to thank you for shedding light on the way of working, on how you organize teams and how you structure collaboration with clients. That's all been super exciting to hear, and also huge congrats for being nominated for a UX Design Award for your work on Bitstamp. That's the latest news out of Momentum. And we have a couple of great questions in the Q&A, so let's try to tackle those. And the first one I think is very exciting, and it's from Ivan, who wants to hear your thoughts on the rise of AI in terms of the impact on various aspects of design. And we can see that AI can create personas, user stories, is pretty solid in copywriting. Do you see the impact on what you're doing?
That is it. Thank you, Ivan. It's a very hot topic. We're doing it today. We're using the AI tools. So there's many different ways, different plugins in Figma that are using AI to help make the process quicker, based on, it goes from color selection all the way through creating actual vector art by typing in. So there's some very interesting tools out there that we are using today. Obviously the open AI GTP is taking over everyone's life these days, and we were using those for storytelling as well as many different ways. So it is a hot topic internally. We have an offsite next week, which is a prime topic that we are going to be talking about. How can we, so yes, applications for synthesis of user interviews. That is, you grab all the data. Can we use it in that manner? We are considering that. We're actually testing that right now. And then we're, thinking about, creating many different white papers, communications, even job descriptions. I mean, it has many different applications on the app side, as well as the sales side, as well as the design, what we do really to enhance. I don't see it's not going to take us over, but it is going to be a tool that is just going to be commonplace. I guarantee in the next 6 months.
Thank you, Peter, for your thoughts on this very hot topic, like you said. We have another question from one of our attendees on any methods or tips and tricks on how to make client interactions more productive.
Well, sure. We do it. So we have many different ways how we approach our collaboration sessions. I mean, we do it every other day. So it's really about the relationships. Like I go back to the building blocks. Once you make a connection, some are they want to participate. So we use a lot of fig jams and get them actually moving stuff around and getting their ideas out there. And then there's the other individuals that are more, they want to have access to and provide feedback through Figma. So I forgot to mention that. So we're very transparent on how we work with our customers. We give them access to our working design files, and we want them to actually review and participate, adding feedback along the way. We accept it. So there's that ongoing dialogue, no matter if we are meeting face-to-face or in between. But we use those techniques around communication channels, and we have Slack groups at the client level. So many different ways to get them engaged along the design journey.
Okay, thank you. We have a question from Joe, who wants to hear more about, well, he says your design process is fast and intensive. Do you think that speed and technology dependencies can degrade the creative momentum? And points to Joe for the fun on Momentum.
Yeah, we are. I'm going to toot our own horn. We're well oiled, so we have the frameworks that we the team can go ahead and choose from. So whatever the problem is, and that is a benefit of just being consistent and having those at hand. So that helps us speed our thinking up. But yes, I mean, we're fluid at the same time. So, if we are going through a review mid-sprint and we needed to take more time on a certain interaction or a new idea comes up, we have the customer right there to make the decision that we should invest that time. So when I say fast, I say, yes, we're fast, but I want to be accurate. So there's a difference there. We're not sloppy. We try to be as fast as possible because that is what our customers want, because we have crazy timelines. But we want to be very, very accurate as well as delivering quality at the same time.
Well, linking into this question, I really like the analogy you made between the designers at Momentum as unicorns and their delivery leads as hybrids in the organization. Mm-hmm. And is there really anything about how you choose team members and how you structure these small yet scrappy teams to make sure that you are at the same time fast, meeting client deadlines, and creative at the same time?
Oh, most definitely. Yeah. So I mentioned time zone. That's key. So everything is, so if you're a designer in New York, you're probably not going to be paired with a designer in Australia. Just be the time zone. But Europe, yes, right. So that's first and foremost. But there's a skill set. I mean, I mentioned the profile of when we go through recruiting and conversations of the fit. For designers, the criteria is that I ask a lot of the design team, and I want them to feel comfortable, and I want to feel comfortable about their skills to be able to do their research all the way through to delivery. So that is in as well as the passion. So we have to learn. The willing to learn is another thing to be very successful here at Momentum, always progressing, because we never know what they're going to be asked to do, and we ask them to do the deep dives of understanding the industry they might not have touched, understanding the problem, understanding the user need, and then bringing that information to the workshops and become the expert in the room to help facilitate the thinking through the workshop sessions and beyond. So the profile is willing to learn, passionate. And I use the word scrappy, is that if we don't know it, we learn it, right? So we have that mentality that, we will step up and, so the example of the mobility, the video that I shared of actually the robot, the 3D stuff, I'll give you an example. When that came up, the request from the customer was they want higher fidelity. We start with they wanted a journey map. And then we went storyboards, and they're like, can you go higher? So the team learned 3D modeling tools. They learned it. And before that project started, they never did 3D design in their life. And now you see what they can do.
Okay. Thank you, Peter. There's one more question in the chat, and it's on maybe sharing with us some of your toughest challenges and issues that you've had to deal with.
Yeah, every project has challenges. Every project we do is unique. So there's a couple different paths that I can answer that question. I can talk about the act of creating, so there is, consistency, eye for detail, using the tools we have. There's, always questions around what is the right fidelity or the right specifications at handoff to a development team. So we're always improving in that nature. The tools and the intelligence, the AI intelligence example is something that we are always working to refine. Other challenges, it's the undefined. We are very comfortable with taking the abstract and making it tangible. That is another a key trait that I look for. People that understand the big picture as well as can hone in on the micro interactions. I'm kind of going away from the question, but it's all about, you know, being flexible and always wanting to solve the problem. So yeah, I can't give you one major friction point. We have few that we're always refining. You know, we are learning as we go, like every organization, trying to do the best job possible.
Very much, Peter. Thank you to everybody who's listening to us today and for sharing your questions. If there's any final questions, maybe we have another minute to address those. But I really want to thank you not just for sharing the way of working and how you've structured the work and the teams, but also giving us the examples of the work and what that looks like at the end of the day. Thank you to everybody who has been listening to us throughout the day, and special thanks to all of our speakers who've worked very hard to prepare interesting sessions for the audience today. We're super excited that we had so many people outside of HTEC listening in on the different talks we had throughout the day. So feel free to get in touch if there are any topics that you'd like to learn more about. Reach out to our speakers, and we hope to do a lot more of these external knowledge sharing sessions moving on in the future. So again, again, thanks to Peter, thanks to our audience, and see you again very soon for some interesting new talks and conferences. Bye, everybody.
Yep, thank you much. Happy HTEC days. Bye.
Bye.